Hello back again to the NATO Public Forum. My name is Marvin, and we're here not alone. Actually, I have not two guests, one guest from the Netherlands, and also Sam. Hi there.
Happy to be here.
So we have a guest, Ruben Brekelmans, or Ruben Brekelmans, if I pronounce it in my German way. I think that one would have been perfect. You're a politician from the Netherlands. Please, for everybody who doesn't know you, introduce yourself.
And that's not strange because I've just been a Minister of Defense for 1 week. But before that, I was a Member of Parliament in the Netherlands, mostly focusing on foreign affairs and on asylum and migration. But now I'm Minister of Defense, so focusing even more on defense policy, of course, and our international security.
I'm interested in, I think to a lot of audiences, particularly younger audiences, a summit like this is a bit of a mystery to them. Can you explain how does something like this work for you? And did you have any particular priorities coming into this summit?
Sure. Yeah, so you have some big plenary sessions where all the member states are there. So you have 32 leaders in the room having these big discussions. But besides, there are also many side events and there are also bilateral meetings. So for me, because I'm very new, it was an opportunity for me to get to know all my colleagues, also to show everyone or to convey a clear message so that our Dutch foreign policy will remain the same. We now have a different coalition than we had in the past. But regarding defense, regarding foreign policy, regarding our support to Ukraine, our position will be very similar. And it was also a good opportunity to discuss those topics. So support to Ukraine, our contribution to NATO, and also our broader international position.
Here in the US, we have a big presidential election coming this fall. I'm curious, from your perspective, is NATO doing enough to prepare for the chance that the US reduces its involvement in NATO or pulls out entirely?
I think the commitment that was made, the commitments that were made here were very good in this summit. But to be perfectly honest, European countries should do more. So we are now on an upward trajectory when it comes to investment in defense. But still, it is not enough. Especially our industrial production should scale up. We should also speed up because many plans are made, but it's taking many, many years in order to really increase our production. And Ukraine needs our support now. We need to also strengthen our defense and our deterrence now. So I think we should also sometimes be a little bit maybe less liberal in the sense that, you know, if you leave it up to open markets and leave it up to investors and companies, then of course it takes time to do those investments. And maybe sometimes government should play a bigger role in this because it's also a matter of making progress very soon, as I said, because our defense is very much under pressure.
Which is interesting what you said now, that you should, you know, not let the market do what the market does, because your coalition is rather right, is rather open market. How do you convince your partners to think the same way?
So I am from a liberal party. I'm an economist by training. So I've always been very much in favor of open markets. It's what benefited the Netherlands in the past. So I still believe in that. I think there are many ways in which open markets, open economies, incite entrepreneurship, encourage creativity. So that's all good. But when it comes to our security, and we need to also maybe do things that are maybe not providing the most return from an economic perspective, but which are needed for our security, I think governments have a bigger role to play. We also see that in order to speed up and scale up, there are many obstacles. We have shortage of materials. There are also shortages in terms of personnel, of people working on the technologies that we need. So in that case, also governments might need to play a bigger role to get those obstacles away and make sure that we make progress sooner than we are doing now.
I'm curious if you discussed the idea of adding Ukraine to NATO this summit. Is that something that you think should happen?
That has been a big topic of discussion. I think it was good that a compromise has been found already before the summit. So in the declaration of the summit, there will be some very clear language on this, saying that the path to NATO membership for Ukraine is irreversible. And I think that's also sends a strong signal to Ukraine that their future is within NATO. I think it was good that we found that solution. That solution was found before the summit, so it also, you know, we can show that there is unity on this topic. That we, although there are some different opinions among 32 countries, that we are able to find compromises, because Russia is looking to divide us. They are looking to divide us when it comes to military support, but also on issues like this. And we should, we should be united, and we should not make Russia divide us. And I think we succeeded in this summit with this.
Which obstacles, though, are on the way, like of Ukraine joining NATO, and how long do you think the process might take?
Of course, the big obstacle is that Ukraine is at war, and we want to prevent a direct confrontation between NATO and Russia. And if Ukraine would join today, then there would be a direct war between NATO and Russia. So I think that's the major issue. I think if we want to make steps towards Ukrainian membership, we need to define, how can those steps look like. And there are different ways to do that. I think the security agreements that were made between, 17 countries or something, and Ukraine so far, I think are a good step. I think if you look at how we support the Ukrainian military, not only by providing weapons, but also by helping them to modernize their military and make them compatible with NATO standards, I think those are also important steps. Also, today NATO announced that they will play a much stronger role in the support to Ukraine. So over the last couple of years, it was more bilateral support. Now NATO is also playing more of a coordinating role. I think that's also for NATO, that's a big step. So all these steps that we are making will build a bridge towards NATO membership for Ukraine. We are not there yet, but we are making significant steps, and I think that's positive for Ukraine and that's positive for NATO.
Ruben Brekelmans, thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for giving us your answers to our questions.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to be here.
Thanks. And if you want to see more videos from us during the NATO Public Forum, just click on other videos and we'll be there. Thanks.